So the next is claims processing, and we're going to be focused on that, the exception claims. If you could advance. And similar to adjustments, we bring in those forms, and then we capture the associated documents, classify those, and then based on that classification, we assign it to the appropriate person, and then that person will do the based on the classification, they'll do the appropriate work, investigation, reconstruct, and then after that, that work is validated, and then you get the departmental approvals, and then management approvals. And again, we're at a point where you can export to payment or generate a denial letter, and we have sophisticated letter generation as well. So Mike, I'll turn it back to you to show the actually how it works.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kelly. Minimize this. Back up here. All right. So my name is Michael Brown. In this session, I'll be taking us through exception claims processing in the lottery automation system. To begin this process, I'm going to open up our client. Exception claims, we have to process a physical ticket as well as a physical exception winner claim form. So to do that, we're going to need to scan that in. So you'll notice a lot of similarities between exception processing and retailer adjustment processing. When you boil them down, a lot of the actions behind the scenes are the same. So you may notice some similarities through this process. But to begin this, I'm going to log in with my claims user so that we can simulate a scan of an exception claim packet into the lottery automation system. So you'll see when I log in with my claims user, I'm brought to the personal page. Claims user, really their only function in this process is to scan in that physical packet. So the only item on their personal page is batch scanning. I'm going to go ahead and open up batch scanning. And you'll notice, just like when we were talking about adjustments, we have our scan queue here. The way we're simulating this is the claim is coming in from a regional office. And that demonstrates some nice things about this process. You can have that physical scan be done at a regional office and have the investigation done at the headquarters, for example. There's no need to mail the physical ticket or the physical forms. Once we have it scanned into the system, it can be transmitted electronically through that workflow process. All right, so to begin the scan of the exception claim into the system, I'm first going to need to choose a case type. I need to indicate why this is an exception claim. So if you'll see here over on the right, I have a case type dropdown. I can hit the dropdown on this. And again, like I mentioned before, I like to use dropdowns wherever possible just for data consistency. You don't have users typing into a free-form text field, which can cause issues with reporting, can cause issues where maybe someone doesn't know an abbreviation that someone else is using. So wherever possible, I like to use dropdowns for consistency. So for this, I'm going to do, we're suspecting that this is a stolen ticket. So we'll go ahead and choose case type of stolen ticket. And then we will simulate a scan into the exception claim scan queue. All right, so once that scan is completed, we will see a preview of all the documents, all the images that were brought in as a part of that scan. You can see here we have our winner claim form that the individual filled out. We have the front and back of the ticket that was attempted to be claimed, but was flagged in our system. And we have the envelope that they mailed into the particular regional office. So once we have finished the scan, we're happy with it. All the documents have made it through the scanner. We see them on our screen. The next thing we're going to do is click back. And that batch is now uploaded into the system and will be sent to the next user in the process. Now, the way that we have this set up, the next user in the process is the claims lead, who's going to be doing the document separation and indexing. Again, I just want to mention this. This is built from a sample perspective. This is how we've seen other lotteries in the past do this, but this can be completely configured however your lottery processes exception claims. So now that we've scanned that in, I'm going to go ahead and log out of my claims user, and I will log in with the claims lead. Again, I just want to make sure that I'm mentioning this. You'll see me logging in and out of different test user accounts. In a production environment, typically we would enable some sort of single sign-on authentication so that users are not typing in their username and password. Based on who they're logged into their PC with, the system can log them in accordingly. So I'll go ahead and log in with my claims lead user. Now the claims lead user is going to be processing that batch that was brought in by the claims user. So I'm going to go ahead and go into batch processing. And you can see in the exception claims scan queue, we have one batch waiting for us. And if we open up this batch, you'll see it is currently sitting in an awaiting document separation status. Now, if you remember back to retailer adjustments, document separation is when we separate a batch into individual documents. So now that I have the batch selected, I'm going to go ahead and click Start Processing in Ribbon. And that's going to bring me into my document separation layout. Now again, if I hover over the thumbnails, you'll see an expanded view. I can double click on the thumbnail to view that image in full size. So we have our claim form and the front of the ticket. I'm going to hover my cursor in between those two images and break that claim form off into its own individual document. Next, we have the front and back of the ticket in question. I'm going to put my cursor in between the back of the ticket and the postmarked envelope and left click, and you'll see I have now separated this batch into individual distinct documents. Again, if there were any extraneous pages or backs of pages that weren't removed during the scanning process, we can always use delete mode to remove those from the batch. You can also rotate pages if things came in with an incorrect orientation. We can rotate them in this part of the process. So once we are finished with document separation, we're going to go ahead and click Save and Close in the ribbon, and then yes at the confirmation prompt. So now you'll see our batch is in an awaiting index. And if you remember, awaiting index, we're going to be doing classification and indexing of those documents. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our indexing layout. You'll see our first document here is our claim form. So I'm going to go ahead and set this document type to claim form. And you'll notice we have a bunch of keywords that we need to enter for this particular document. I'm going to enter social security number, player name, address, state, zip, date of birth, phone number, and then an email address. Again, like I mentioned before in the retailer adjustments presentation, keywords where the title of the keyword is in black are optional. Keywords that are in red are going to be required. We're going to need to enter a value for those particular keywords before we can move this particular document along in the process. You'll notice that some of these keywords have masking applied. So the phone number is 3 digits, a dash, 3 digits, a dash, and then 4 digits. And again, I like to have data consistency. So wherever possible, I like to use masks just to keep that data consistent from one user who's doing data entry to another. Some users, when entering the social security number, may not add dashes. Others may use dashes. We can use masking to keep everything consistent. So email address, John Smith did include an email address, so we can enter that while indexing the claim form. Once I have entered all the information for this particular document, I'm going to go ahead and mark it as indexed with the index button down in the lower left, and it will move us to the next document in the batch. This document is a ticket, and we'll enter the ticket serial number, and then mark that as indexed, and then a supplemental document. And you'll notice there's nothing else that we need to index for a supplemental document. So we'll go ahead and click index. Again, when you're finished with the batch, you can either go back and check your work, save it to process at a later time, or move it along in the process. In this example, in this demo, I'm going to move this along into the workflow process. So I'm going to use save and transition. So now the claims lead has finished their part of the process. This particular exception claim will now go to the investigation manager, where the investigation manager will assign that to an investigator. So I'm going to log out of the claims lead account. We will log in with the investigation manager. All right, so on the investigation manager login, you'll notice our personal page looks different. We have two different workflow queues here where documents are going to be flowing to that are going to be assigned to me. So as the investigation manager, I'm responsible for assigning claims as well as reviewing the findings on a particular claim. And so you'll see those two personal page tiles here. I've also created some sample reports that we'll take a look at. The first one we'll take a look at is the claim assignment report. You'll notice this will be exactly the same as the report that I used for retailer adjustments. This gives us the ability to see the workload of different investigators in the process. So we can see investigator user 3 currently has 2 claim tickets assigned to them, and investigator user 2 has 3. I can leave this on a different screen, let it update throughout the day, and then as I'm making assignments of claims, I can use this to determine who I want to assign it to based on workload. Again, like I mentioned in retailer adjustments, we're going to be showing manual assignment of claims. There are certainly many other ways to do that. You could do round robin, you could do least amount of workload currently. There are a multitude of different ways that you can do assignment. We can really tailor this to meet your business practice. So close out of here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the claim assignment queue. You'll see here we have the claim number along with the case type. Maybe certain investigators process certain types of cases, and you can use that case type to make a decision on who you're going to assign the particular claim to. When I'm ready to assign the claim, you can see all the documents here. I'm going to click Assign Claim in the ribbon. You'll see a form pop out on the right where I can choose the user in the process that I want to assign this particular claim to. Let's do investigative user 2 and then click Assign Claim. And again, you'll notice once I assign that claim, it removes itself from my processing page and has been sent to whatever user I assigned it to, in this case, investigative user 2. Now, again, just like I showed in retailer adjustments, if I am a manager level user, I can use something called queue administration to manage the work in the queues for the particular users. So if I open up queue administration, I can see here all of the users that are in the process, as well as all of the particular tickets that are assigned to those users. So you can see here, INV user has none, user 2 has 4, user 3 has 2. And again, just like I showed with retailer adjustments, I can reassign work from this screen. So if I find the claim that I want to reassign, I click reassign item, I can choose a different user to reassign that to. This is helpful if somebody is out on PTO and maybe a claim was already assigned to them and you need to assign it to someone else to process, you can use that. Like Carlos showed earlier, you can always take advantage of the sort of out of office where you can designate particular claim or designate your delegation of the approvals to a different user while you're out of the office. All right, so now that I have reassigned that particular claim to INV user, I'm going to get out of queue administration. We'll take a quick look at our claim assignment report. And you can see here it is constantly being updated. We see INV user now has 1, INV user 3 has 2, and INV user 2 has 3 tickets. Close out of there. Before I log in with the INV user to continue processing that particular claim that we've been working with, I want to just show this claim status non-completes report. Again, very similar to the report that we looked at for retailer adjustments. but essentially this gives you a window into all of the claims that are currently in process. It gives you the current status, the current user they're assigned to, any decisions that have been made, as well as you can view the particular documents. If you double click on them, it will open up like I showed with retailer adjustments, but we'll take a little bit deeper dive into that a little later. There's also a pie chart down here at the bottom where I'm just showing a breakdown of where tickets are in the process. So you can see we have 6 tickets in claim processing and 2 currently in claims payment. So we'll close out of here. I'm going to log out of my investigation manager account, and I'm going to log in with INV user, who we just assigned that claim to. All right, so you'll see when I'm logged in with the INV user, the claim processing queue on my personal page shows me that ticket that was assigned to me. If I click on claim processing, it'll open up the workflow layout, and I can view that particular ticket along with any other tickets that were assigned to me. In this example, there's currently only 1 in my queue. Again, I can view related items. If I open up the secondary viewer, I can view related items to this particular claim ticket by selecting them in the related items window. So I can see here the claim form, I can see the supplemental document, which in this case is just a postmarked envelope. Anything related to this particular claim, I can reference while I'm doing my investigation. All right, so let me close out the secondary viewer. Across the top, you can see the actions that I can take on a particular ticket in my processing queue. I can approve the ticket, I can deny the ticket, I can add ticket notes, I can request a reconstruction. So if this is a damaged ticket, maybe it was torn and half the ticket's missing, we can reach out to the gaming vendor and request a reconstruction of that ticket to see exactly what that ticket would have looked like before it was damaged, if that would be useful in our investigation. Add ticket notes. So while I am processing this particular investigation, I can add notes about this particular ticket. So if I add contacted player, left voicemail. You'll see down here, I can see the submitter information. So I could bring up the claim form, absolutely could do that. Or while I'm entering my notes, I can also view the player's information who submitted this particular claim. So I can see John William Smith, all of that data that we entered while we were indexing this batch. So once I've added my note, I'll go ahead and click save. Let's say after I'm done my investigation, I want to approve this ticket. I disagree with the stolen ticket case type. I think it should be approved. So I'm going to go ahead and click approve ticket. When I click approve ticket, you'll see, I can see all the notes, all the narrative that I entered about this particular case up here at the top. I can see the submitter information, who actually submitted this claim. And then now you'll see the approved information section down here at the bottom. Now, I need to enter who is the approved payee for this particular claim. If it's the same as the submitter, I can use same as submitter. If I check that box, it's essentially going to duplicate that data from the submitting information and place it in the approved information. And that's useful for the accounting folks who are going to actually be making the payment to the player. If it's not the same as the submitter, if I uncheck this box, you'll see it's going to tell me all those fields are required. And I need to enter the approved payee information before I can send this ticket along in the process. So I'm going to do same as submitter and then approved amount. I'm going to approve this for, say, $12. Once I put that information in, I'll go ahead and click save. And you'll notice that ticket has left my processing queue and has been sent to the investigation manager so they can review my findings and either approve or deny. So let me log out of the investigation user, and we'll log back in with that investigation manager user. All right, so you can see that ticket is now in my management review queue. If I go ahead and open this up, I'm going to go ahead and view the findings on this particular ticket. Okay, so I can see the investigative user contacted the player, left a voicemail, whatever notes, whatever narrative were entered about this particular claim. I can see the submitter as well as see the approved information. You'll see up at the top, the decisions up here, easy to read. I can see, hey, the IMV user approved for this player of this amount. So as the manager, I disagree with those findings. I did my own research. It was clearly a stolen ticket, so I'm going to deny this back to the IMV user. So I'm going to click Deny Findings. I'm going to add a note, IMV manager at such and such date and time. Ticket was stolen. Please deny. And then I'll click Save, and this will flow back to the submitting user. In this case, it was IMV user. So let me log out of the manager account. We'll go back into IMV user. And again, you're seeing me logging in and out. In production, these will be different people running each of these processes. So it would just be seamlessly being sent back and forth depending on whatever process we're doing in workflow. So you can see our claim ticket is back in my processing queue. Open this up. All right, so I should have denied this ticket. So let me go ahead and click Deny Ticket. You'll see here, ticket was stolen. Let me choose the denial reason. Again, I'll mention it one more time. With I prefer to use drop downs with things like this. It keeps the data consistent. When we're looking at, hey, how many tickets were denied because they were stolen, everything is uniform. All the tickets that were marked as denied because they were stolen will all were reported stolen for their denial reason. So let me choose were reported stolen and click Save. So you'll see now I've updated that decision, my findings on that particular ticket, and it will be sent back to the IMV manager, the investigations manager. All right, so that ticket's back in my management review queue. Open this up, view the findings. I say, okay, so it's now the decision is denied and the denial reason is reported stolen. Cool, I'm happy with that. So I will now approve those findings, and you'll see it flows to the denied claims route. Now, if I open up denied claims, what I had the system do is I had it generate a letter, a denial letter. So you can see here the date, the player's information that submitted this particular claim. We have the ticket, the reason why it was denied. The way we set this up typically, we will have a list. So every ticket that was a part of that particular claim, you would see here. Basically, if you have any questions, please contact the customer service team. So this process generated this letter. This could be printed and mailed. We did capture the email address, so it could be certainly set up if it matches your business practice to email this response to that player. It could certainly be set up that way. If we had approved this ticket for payment, it would have gone a different route and gone to a claims payment queue where accounting could actually make the payment to that particular player. So if we flip back to our personal page, and let's take a look at our lottery claim status report. Again, just like retailer adjustments, when this opens up, this is going to give us a full picture of all of the complete and incomplete, still in process claims. If somebody calls up, hey, I need to talk to you about claim number XYZ, we can always narrow this down with parameters. We can enter the claim number here. Once we find that claim, the one we were working with was this one. Again, all you need to do is double click on it. You can see the ticket itself. You can see the history of the ticket if you need to reference that for whatever reason. You can see the workflow queues, all the different queues that it entered throughout the process. So you can see it went to claims processing, management review, rejected, back to claim processing, management review, and then it was marked as a denied claim. And again, if I open up the related items, I can see the ticket information form. So I can see all of the notes and narrative about this particular ticket in this particular claim, the submitter information, as well as the denial reason. And I can also see anything else that was brought in as a part of this particular claim batch. Since out. All right, and with that, that concludes my presentation on exception claims processing. You'll probably notice a lot of similarities with the retailer adjustments process. Again, when you boil these down, yes, there are different actions that are taken, but the underlying process is pretty much the same. You're receiving a physical item, the tickets, as well as any forms. You're bringing them into the lottery automation system, classifying them, indexing them, doing an investigation, and then either approving or denying that request. So if there are any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the question and answer feature of Zoom, and I'll try to get to those during the break. And Shannon will be presenting public records request management at 3:30.